Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop on boosting club quality. My name is Maya Thotumkal. I am District 123 PQD Web Contest Chair. No, not Contest Chair. It's called Workshop Chair. There are different names for me. Anyway, I have some dignitaries in this group. Let me welcome them first. That is our District 123 Program Quality Director Madhukar Shahi. And we have a District 123 Club Growth Director Eva Britton. Welcome to the session. And today we have a Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster, not just Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster, who is going to moderate this panel discussion. He joined the Toastmasters in 2016. And he just joined the Toastmasters, no. He just flourished the Toastmaster International. He received the President of the Year award from District 86. Then he moved on. He became District 123 Club Growth Director. Yes, he was keep on moving up, climbing the ladder just one step at a time. And he was very instrumental in starting 10 clubs, new clubs. Starting a club is not that an easy job. You have so much, you have to make sure you get the enough members for that club. But the humongous task is to maintain that momentum once you start the club. Yes, that is where most of the clubs struggle these days. Some clubs don't have that much problem, but some clubs. That's why today we have a panel discussion to give some insights. How can we improve the quality of Toastmaster Club? It can be a community club. It can be a corporate club. Let me welcome Leslie Benfield, DTM, as moderator for this panel discussion.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Maya, and thank you to everyone who has joined this program. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to the Boost Workshop, as I would like to call it. So, this is the second edition of this workshop, and its purpose is to identify and discuss ways that we as Toastmasters can reignite the passion for Toastmasters. So, for my 9 years experience in Toastmasters, I know that growth comes at the intersection of fun and education. So, on our panel today, we have two of the top members of the district. The district has what we call a trio, and we have two of them here. We're very lucky to have two of our trio members today as part of the panel. And I will pass the mic to my panelists in just a minute. But I'd like to tell you a little bit about these panels, just before I hand them the microphone. So the first one I would like to talk about is Mr. Madhukar Sahi. So Madhukar and I worked together as division director. I was division director and he was an area director. And in that year, he had accomplished so much. He was awarded the area director of the year. Let's give a round of applause for Madhukar. Yeah, and I'm going to introduce our next panelist. Let's just switch back to our next panelist. Our second panelist is Eva Britton, distinguished Toastmaster. She's 3 times distinguished Toastmaster. And let me tell you a little bit about her. talk about her for quite a while, but I think it's important that I tell you a little bit about her. I met Eva when we were part of District 86, and I think the most important interaction or the most memorable interaction was when she was organizing the contest, at the time of the pandemic. That was in 2019. And the way that she was, just running this project, it was just fantastic seeing her going around the district and promoting that. So recently, she was awarded Club Coach of the Year. That's one of the reasons why, apart from, being the club growth director, I really wanted her on this panel to talk about how we can sort of improve within our clubs. So now our third panelist is someone very special, and I'm glad that he was able to make it today. Our third panelist is Duran, and he and I met a few years ago when he competed at the International Speech Contest. He got third place that time. That's what, 2.5 years ago? And his speech was captivated a lot of people, even though he got the third place. Last time around, he exceeded all expectations and he won the international speech contest. So if anyone here is thinking about, competing, you think, this year we have the international speech contest, we have the humorous speech contest, and we also have the table topics contest. So I'll ask my assistant, Maya, if you can spotlight our three panelists all at once, as well as myself. And I'll start with Madhukar. And if I can have my third panelist, Eva. Okay, all right. So first of all, I'd like to turn the microphone to my good friend Madhukar Sahi. Can you tell us a little more about yourself? I know you've been in Toastmasters, like I mentioned, for quite a few years. Tell us a little bit of yourself. And I want you to include in that statement, you've been in Toastmasters and why did you renew? Why did you get to this stage in Toastmasters?
First of all, I would like to say same word what you said. You're a good friend. So can I use same word? My good friend, Leslie Benfield, who is the past district director of District 123. And I have learned so many things under him. Now, you said like I should say something about myself. But before that, I would like to say that most of the developing countries, whether it is Far East or South Asia or China or East European countries, they don't have English as a mother tongue or first language. So when they come to the Western countries, it is not about that they don't know English, but they don't have confidence to speak to anyone because no matter the other part or other person knows English or doesn't know, but we have that fear that this person may be better than me. So that thing happened. But the drawback when we come to these countries, we entangle ourselves to earn some money. Because when we convert our currency, our country's currency towards the dollar, it's a big amount. Even to have a coffee from Tim Horton, I still remember. Why should I go to Tim Horton? Why not should I bring coffee or tea from my home or should I drink before I go for a job? Because that was big money. So my teacher, when I joined ESL, they said like, Madhukar, your English is good, but you don't have confidence. And then she requested or told me, go to Toastmaster. And it took almost like a 15 year to join Toastmaster. So those who are still thinking or those who you come across to those people, oh, what is Toastmaster? That is the third priority or fourth priority. I'll join later on. Time passes. For me, 15 years gone. But cut short that, I'm Toastmaster for the last 8 years. And in 8 years, I did not break Leslie's record. 8 clubs he chartered. He chartered 11. I chartered 8 clubs. But I'm chasing you, Leslie. Don't worry. Very soon it will be 12. So the second question you asked, why I'm renewing, right? Did you ask that one or why I'm
Oh
Toastmaster?
yeah, 100%. We'd like to know
Yeah.
why you're renewing. And this is a question we'll have for all our panelists because, we're up at the point of renewal. And I kind of want to plug this for our club board director. It's important that we refocus and reignite our passion. So I'm really interested in, why you're renewing. Of course, you have to renew to stay an active member, but there must be some other reason that kept you, in the program for a number of years.
Okay. So in just one or two sentences, I will say, I don't feel very proud when I see that I have grown or developed my skill. But I feel proud when some unknown person or even known, my friend or family say, Madhukar, you have totally changed the level of confidence you have. That speaking in English in front of like 100 people or 200 people or like 5 people, that make me very proud that I can speak in English and with full confidence. That's the reason why I keep renewing my Toastmasters membership. And who knows where I'm going to reach after 5 years or 4 years. Thank you, Leslie.
Awesome. And I really want to come back to the fact that, you joined Toastmasters for a completely different reason to the average person in Canada. People join, they want to get a promotion at their job, but you had the challenge with the ESL and becoming a better communicator. So I like to stick a pin there and head on to our next panelist, Eva. Same question to you. Um, I know you've been in Toastmasters for a while. You're well decorated. Toastmaster having 3 DTMs, that's almost a record for our district. Is it 4? All right, I'm losing count. Okay, give us your introduction. I'd love to hear a little bit about you. I think you're muted.
Thank you, Leslie. And thank you. I just wanted to give you the update. And the reason I did that is because sometimes you don't know how close you are before you get there. And Leslie asked, how long have you been with Toastmasters? I've been with Toastmasters for over 27 years. And I still keep on trucking and I get myself involved and do things. And one of the biggest things that I've learned being in Toastmasters is that you learn by doing. Everything that I did was because I did it myself and I learned how to do it. I researched it, got myself involved. And that's what's important with Toastmasters. When you can read a book as long as you like, but you're never going to know how to ride a bike. You can watch videos and you can watch other people do it, but till you do it yourself, you're not going to learn how to do it. Same thing with running contests, same thing with doing speeches, same thing with running meetings. If you're a chair, a Toastmaster, or whoever you are, these are things that you learn by practicing. And if you don't do it right the first time, you always have an opportunity to try it again. So this is what I've been doing, and I've done it before. And Leslie and I have worked many times before. And I think what he mentioned was the conference, the Toastmasters conference before COVID. And it just went to a complete screeching halt. Unfortunately, COVID hit and we had to stop everything. Everything went online. And unfortunately, we didn't continue with the conference. But Leslie was completely involved in that. He was one of the members on the team, so we were working together, and it was a fantastic thing. And what he was talking about was a road show that I was a co-host with Cheryl Bates, and we were chairing the conference. And what we did is we did a road show to promote the conference, and we went out to all the not the clubs, the trainings and and the contest, and we promoted the conference, and with all that effort, unfortunately stalled. So sometimes things like that happen. You put all your best foot forward, but you don't get anywhere. But that doesn't mean you stop. That was a few years ago, and I'm still here, still going strong because there's so much more to learn. And if you haven't renewed your dues, I encourage you to do that. That is something very important because you don't stop learning after one meeting. You don't stop learning after 1 year. I First thing I did when I started was I just wanted to get over the fear of public speaking, get more confidence, and here I am 27 years later, still here. So I encourage you to participate. There is so much new to learn. There's a lot that Toastmasters does to evolve and involve you. So take advantage of the opportunities, the leadership, the communication, the speaking, other projects, uh, project management. There's so many things that you can learn. You
Totally.
haven't started yet. So that's my time. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, and there's one thing you mentioned there, and the language you use is the concept of the roadshow. I'm gonna come back to that later on because I have a friend in England, and what they're actually doing is they're actually doing a tour of the entire district. They have a bus, and they're going from club to club, and they're doing a bus tour, and it's a very large district as well, kind of like our amazing District 123. So maybe we have a concept for, putting some excitement into clubs by doing something like that. So our third panelist is none other than my friend Darren. And you know what? I was really excited when I called him a couple years ago. We had um I really wanted someone on the panel who can talk to contests and not just contests, but also adding humor to your contest. So I'm looking forward to hearing, this conversation developing. I don't know how many of you have seen him compete at the conference. I've seen him compete all through from area all the way to division and then to district, and he won at the district. It was fantastic. So I'm really excited that he's here. So without any further ado, I'd like to pass the mic to you, Mr. Darren, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and include, how long you've been in Toastmasters and a little bit about, what was your motivation for continuing in the program.
All right. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event, the workshop. And I'm so glad I got the chance to share this experience, my journey, especially contesting, as you mentioned. So I've been in Toastmasters for 11 plus years now. Started in 2014 March, as I remember. And the reason I joined was I saw one of the TEDx speeches by one guy, some random guy, and I thought, and he was mentioning Toastmasters will change your life. I was a bit skeptical. Really change your life? Maybe it's good, but really change your life. But so I was a bit skeptical. But anyway, I went in and I enjoyed the first meeting a lot. And the best thing, the most exciting thing for me was this that you get to tell your stories. I had a lot of stories. I did a lot of traveling back then, and I had a lot of stories to tell. So I thought this is a great opportunity to, this is a great audience to tell my stories. And little did I know that I was not telling my stories really well. So there's a lot more to for me to learn about telling stories, and that was my journey. And around 1 year later, that random guy who spoke in TEDx, actually became a world champion of public speaking in 2014. So I kept following him, and since 2015, I have been contesting. I've missed only, I would say, about 2 to 3 years here and there while I was doing my master's, and also while I was immigrating to Canada 3 years back. Except those years, I have always been an active member, and every year I have been an active member. I have tried to contest, especially for the international speech contest, and sometimes in the humorous and other contests as well. And I want to say Tall Tales was one of my new experiences here in Canada. We didn't have the Tall Tale contests back in Sri Lankan club, so that was a great experience. So overall, my journey have been nothing but fun and educational and exciting. And I keep coming back to Toastmasters because of, I would say, three things. One, the thing that gives me energy and entertainment. And the second thing is I learn a lot. I learn something every day, even though I don't realize it. I mean, I would learn something today, but I will realize that 6 months later, oh, I know this thing and I learned it 6 months back. I wouldn't realize that on the time at the time of the learning. And the third thing is the people. I had some tough times during past few years, and every time I had a tough moment in my life, I go back to my Toastmasters club meeting and meet people. Even they don't even know that I sort of feed off their energy sort of way, and then they help me cope with the situations, even though they don't know it. So that has been that network, that energy of the people have been one of the biggest reasons for me to come back to Toastmasters. And I hope I wouldn't go into the topic of humor yet. I hope there'll be a question coming up. So I'm happy to share my experience about contesting and adding humor, or any other question you have. Back to you, Leslie. Leslie, you're on mute.
Yeah, I like the fact that you talk about, your journey, from Sri Lanka to Canada, and the fact that Toastmasters was that location or that destination where you can always go to re-energize yourself. And that's kind of like the theme in this workshop. How do we re-energize ourselves? I've been in Toastmasters. I counted it. I was always saying 8 years, but it's actually 9 years now since 2016. And I have always enjoyed the Toastmasters program because I've been able to grow so much. And, in the quotation earlier, I said, um, growth is the intersection of fun and education. If you're having fun in your club, and you're, doing those speeches, you're working on your pathways, you would be surprised how this program is going to change you. If you sit back and you just attend the meetings now and again, you wouldn't get the full benefit. And I know, just looking at the audience here, I'm kind of speaking to the crowd. So I'd like to go back to my second panelist, my first panelist, Madhukar. So the question that I have for you next is, in your role as the program quality director, you have like all these different roles, different hats that you're responsible for in terms of education, contest, conference, etc. So do you have any exciting news for us? I know we have two contests coming up and etc. Do you have any news for us, or do you like to sort of tell us in terms of, things that clubs can have as a takeaway or set a goal towards?
The contest celebration is going on. Started on the 15th of September. The club level will end on the 12th, and then 12th of October, then area, and then to division. But that's only for two contests, which is humor and table topic. And then January we'll be starting for the international speech contest, and I'm pretty much sure Darren is doing practice. Practice. So that's one part. And you asked about education. Education, I personally feel that education is not confined to number of years you are studying. Uh, say like high school is 10 plus 12, or like a graduation is 3 years, or master degree 2 years, or PhD. There's no number, but PhD. So education, I feel the more you study, more time you give, you get educated more. And the best part in the Toastmaster, which I don't think any other part or any other education institutions have, that you are a professor and you are a student, both. And that is only one educational institution, which is Toastmaster. For example, I'm a program quality director. So maybe I'm a professor for my area director, division director. But for my regional advisor, for my district director, I'm a student. I'm learning. And even from club board directors, because you have just 12 months, and not only 12 months, because 2 months you take to understand how does it work. By the time you understand, your time is over to switch to do next or whatever. So this is the right education institution where you are a professor and you are a student both. And the contest I already said. As far as the conference is concerned, this year I'm focusing on two things. Though Oshwa is still in agenda, I'm focusing two things. One is, if possible, centrally located place, but there's no definition what is centrally located. So what is my definition say? Like that is centrally located conference place. And the second thing, which I personally feel in this inflations and taxes and the membership fees, and then now is a new member fees is going very high. Why not? I should think as a PQD that your pocket should not have any hole. So that is very, very important. We can go to five-star hotel, but how many people can or Toastmaster can afford $500 for going for the conference or $700 for the conference? So that is very, very important. I have taken care in having a venue. You'll be hearing more in coming maybe like on the 18th of October or
Okay.
maybe before that. I am not sure, but we are almost like finalized. But I think let the appropriate time come and we'll disclose that. Thank you, Leslie.
All right. So it sounds like you got a few things cooking in terms of having, refining a location and all of that for the conference. I know it's going to be exciting again because we have three contests in the pipeline, etc. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Is it going to be in May as well, or is it going to be later on in June or April? Do you have the date?
Yeah, first, second, third, 1, 2, 3 May.
Okay, awesome.
Friday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And our district is 1, 2, 3. The dates are 1, 2, 3.
Very good, very
So
good.
you
Okay.
cannot forget. Nobody can forget. May. Yeah.
Very good. So I'd like to hear from Eva next in terms of not just the renewals that we know are coming up, that's important for the clubs, and it's important for every one of us to, re-energize ourselves in the program. But maybe talk a little bit about the fact that you've got four DTMs. Like, what's up with that? I mean, is this what's the challenge? What's the reason? And before you actually talk about the four DTMs, for our audience, because this is a big audience, right? Can you explain what a DTM is and how do you get to that journey? Because I think everyone that's a Toastmaster that's paying up their dues, or if you're in a corporate club and the company is paying your dues, you should definitely have that as your goal to be a DTM. So Eva, why don't you educate us about what a DTM is?
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, a DTM is a special achievement that you have worked to achieve, and you were rewarded with a DTM medallion.
The highest achievement. It's not
The
an
highest achievement. Yes,
yes.
thank you, Desi. I know you've got one too, so it's something that you can be very proud of. And the reason I say that is when I first started off with Toastmasters, as I said, I wasn't planning to stay very long. But I did. I ended up being here for so many years. And it was the same thing with the DTM. When I started, it was two separate tracks. It was a leadership track, so you had to complete a leadership track, plus you had to combine that with a communication track. That was your speaking. And you combine that, when you completed both tracks, you received your DTM. And there's quite a few different components that you have to complete. The first one I did, it took me 14 years. I think around 14 years before I got the first one. So it wasn't just like the next day I'm stepping in and I get the DTM, because I wasn't working towards it, and I didn't realize when I was that close to it that I was that close. I only had one more project. I completed that project and I completed my DTM. So you have to be a district leader, you have to be a club leader, you have to do projects and presentations. You had to do 4 two, four, six I believe it was 6 manuals you had to do. Now you have to do two paths. So it's changed a little bit. The second DTM I received was because I was pushed into it. I was pushed into it because we were changing to the pathways. And if you didn't
First.
complete your DTM at that time, you would lose all your speeches that you completed. And I had most of my speeches completed, just about all my leadership completed. So I was pushed into completing my second DTM. So, and I did that one. And now after that, I think I got the hang of it. What do you do to get a DTM? You have to do your speeches, you have to do projects, you have to do leadership, you have to help clubs, you have to start clubs, and all these different projects. So I just continued on, and I completed my third DTM. And like I said, I think I know the ropes.
Just keep
So
going, right?
exactly. Keep on going, and keep on doing your speeches, keep on getting involved in leadership, helping clubs, serving as in club leadership, because they do need your club executive. So you just put your foot forward and just keep on going. And that's where I ended up with my fourth DTM. So just keep on trucking. I'm working on my next one. It won't be,
Exactly.
I know the ropes, so I know that I have to do my speaking and my leadership. So I'll be heading that way again.
Very good, very good. And I would like to switch to that. Those are all great points in terms of the program. I too got my DTM very early because at the time I joined Toastmasters, within a few years they were switching to the new Pathways program, and I heard that if you didn't finish, you would have to restart from scratch. So um, you know, I really enjoyed that sort of extra nudge that Toastmasters gave me to get my DTM. Since then, I've been working on my Pathways DTM, and I've completed everything. I just need to submit it. So I'll be 2 times DTM. Following you, Eva. All right. So, like I
Okay.
said, I'd like to hear from our audience. And I see a good question from Dennis. Dennis, would you mind putting on your microphone? We'd love to hear your voice rather than just reading the question.
Thank you, Leslie. You're very kind.
Yeah, can you ask the question?
Certainly. I am curious, is there a formal or informal strategy or opportunity for the club executive of some of the struggling clubs to get formal guidance, assistance, direction, help from some of the clubs that are enjoying growth? Like what tips or ideas can be shared to spur the interest and participation? And I say this coming from Ajax Pickering Toastmasters, where we've been fortunate, but we've also worked very hard at keeping a very robust club for close to 4 decades. And as a result of that, I guess reputation precedes us a little bit because we don't seem to have a great challenge attracting new people, which is
Yes,
wonderful. And yes, there is a magic elixir in there. We have the talent in the form of Duran helping lead the charge. But I'm
exactly.
curious if there are other clubs out there who have enjoyed some success, or hey, this works for us because we do this and this and this,
Yes,
that can be readily shared with other clubs. You know what? We should have an open house every month. You know what? We should do that. We should have an internal contest. And I recognize, upfront, it's not going to be for everyone, and it's not going to work at every club. But with a number of multiple efforts for generating excitement and interest, I think a lot can be handed off from club to club to help them out. So I'm
yeah.
curious, is
So,
there anything out there?
yeah, I'd like to take that question. So, what was happening? Okay, let me just go back to a few years ago when I was club growth director and program quality director. A lot of that happened during the pandemic. And what a lot of clubs were doing successfully is they were having meetings, twinning, right? So if you're online, you can be in South Africa, I'm in Toronto, and they were twinning a lot. I actually joined a club out of Miami and we actually twinned each other. We, followed each other. And but to answer your question directly, what what's one formal way and what's informal way? Yeah, the one I mentioned just now is an informal way where the clubs can twin, just go visit. If you're in a struggling club and you're on this podcast right now, or if you're watching this video, one great idea is to do go visit clubs. Like I'm actually in a smaller club, Ola Toronto. And one thing I did just actually the same night of our meeting, I visited a club in Mexico and it was fantastic. I got so many ideas. These clubs are a little different because they're like niche clubs, right? And I got a whole bunch of ideas to bring back to my club. So that's one thing you can do, visit other clubs. But officially, what Toastmasters recommends is the club coach program. And I'm gonna cue Eva up a little bit because she was club coach of the year. She has a lot of, metal under her or armor that she can obviously impart on us. But what that coach program allows um, Toastmasters to do because it's all about growth, right? For you to become a DTM, there's a number of things you have to do. So in the club that's doing well, there's so many opportunities for leadership, and it's all about leadership. And at this point, I'll just, rather than me talking all the time, I'd like to cue Eva to just talk a little bit about the club coach program, how you become a coach, and um, some of the things that you were able to do because I know you did a fantastic job. No one came close to you when we were reviewing who should get the club coach of the year.
Wow, thank you. Such accolades. I think I'm floating high in the sky now. But to address what you were saying, Dennis, your club is not suffering. So I guess from what I get, it's a successful club. How many members do you have in your club?
We are, I believe, formally registered at 32.
Excellent. Wow, that's commendable. Fantastic. So along with what Leslie was saying, and I'm going to go to the club coach just after this, what Leslie was saying, another suggestion I would have is that you open up your doors to the other clubs and say, look, we're doing fantastic. We're doing a great job getting in new guests. Why don't you come and visit and we'll share our secrets? Have an open house and share your secrets with the other clubs around you. And I think that would help them maybe build some confidence, get some ideas, and you would be mentoring and helping the struggling clubs because obviously you're successful and you've been successful for many years. Share your secrets. I would like to see you do that. Share your secrets because I think all these struggling clubs are having problems getting up there. Now, as far as the club coach, this is something that the district addresses with the struggling clubs. Any club that has under 12 it qualifies for a club coach, actually 2 club coaches. If you're struggling, I have a club coach chair that sends out, tries to match. We don't send out, I shouldn't say send out. We try to match a club coach with a struggling club. They come in there and they add at least a couple of extra bodies to your meeting. So that means if you've got 12 people, you're going to have 14. If you have 6 people at your meeting, you're going to have 8 people. Those 2 extra bodies are very helpful. They can take on roles on the agenda and they'll help you through the struggling times, advise you, assist you, and help you. So that's what a club coach does. And they're there with the sole purpose of having the club succeed, having the club become distinguished and increasing their membership. Actually, one of the clubs that I was coaching, one of the members is here tonight, Sandy. Hey, Sandy.
Mhm.
So we
All
were
right.
working together.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. So I'd like to switch to another topic. Um I'll I'll just remove the spotlight from and I'll just add the switch to another topic, which is kind of like part of what Dennis was talking about. How do you invigorate another club? And I'd like to bring in Darren at this point because one of the things that I found fantastic and he has really mastered is the art of adding humor to his speeches. So I would like to ask you, like, where did that come from? Was that something that you have naturally, or was that something you had to learn and sort of like develop in terms of your presentation, adding humor?
Yes, Leslie, I would like to add a bit, build on a couple of answers previously given by Eva and yourself as well. I think to answer Dennis's question as well, along with the your question, I think the key is to in two parts. One, understanding where the club people come from, and also creating a fun environment. And like you started your session, when you started, you said we learn at the moments of enjoyment, just like our founding father Alf Medley said. So it's all about creating a fun environment, and humor is part of that. And it just doesn't have to be always the speakers. It could be a fun theme. It could be a different style of table topics. That's something we do at the Ajax Spirit Toastmasters Club almost all the time. Our table topic segments are really fun because we come up with these crazy ideas, even almost close to the tall tales. So that creating that environment is one of the key things to build a club that attracts people. So that would be my key suggestion for that question. And on going on to the humorous speaking, well, I think there are a couple of reasons why I think I was good at humor in my speech. One is I enjoy a lot of comedy shows, comedy movies, and all that. So I enjoy them, and another on another level, I try to, not always, but whenever I possible, I try to go into the detail of understanding the joke. So I ask the question of, okay, that was funny, and the next question is, why was it funny? What was the technique behind it? What was the reason behind it being funny? Sometimes I write down humor structure, not the joke itself, but the structure of it, so I can replicate that in a different context. So that's one thing I sometimes do, not always. It's not like always analytical, but because you say, that when they say joke is like a frog, when you dissect it, it dies. So it joke becomes being less become stop jokes become stop being funny when you dissect it. But at the same time, you have to know that to understand what works. So in my style of adding humor to my speeches, I mainly do three things. One is exaggerations, where whenever I have a moment of metaphor or a simile in my speech, whenever I have the words like, such as, it feel uh, it looked like, or something like that. Those words, then I know it's a moment to add an exaggeration. And the second technique I use is called setup punch. That we have to force your humor in it. You have to add a joke into it. You can't bring humor from the content itself. So that's where I have to set up something and give the punchline. For example, in my last year's speech, I had a line saying, there's this girl who in a character who was very confusing, who was giving mixed signals to me. So that was the line. That's all I had. Then I had to add another line saying, I wish girls were like traffic lights. Red, I don't like you. Green, I like you. Yellow, I'm starting to dislike you. So that's the joke. And the setup was that was the punch. And the setup was, I wish girls were like traffic lights. Direct. And then that joke I build up on that premise of being a traffic light a little bit further. That's another technique called layering, where I say, but in fact, girls are like Christmas lights. They give all the mixed signals at once: red, green, blue, yellow, purple, orange. So that was the joke. That was the punch of that joke. To add that, I had to set it up by saying that first line. Instead, there was another example is where you can bring out the humor from your content itself is by breaking the expectation, twisting the expectation. I'll give an example. In my last year's speech, I had a line saying, I was saving up for I was looking for money to buy a camera. So I say, I pulled in all my savings, scraped the depth of my piggy bank, and succeeded enough money to I couldn't buy my camera. So that was the line. I couldn't buy my camera from that money. Instead, I say, and so the expectation is either I bought it or I didn't buy it. But instead, I say, I pulled in all my savings, scraped the depth of my piggy bank, and I succeeded in gathering enough money to buy one donut. So the expectation is to that I brought a camera and then I break it, twist it by saying, no, it was just a donut. So that's a way of bringing humor through your content itself. You might not have a funny content, you might have a moment that you just have, I tried to save money, I couldn't do it. That's all. That could be your content, but it's about finding a way to break the expectation. So these are some of the main techniques I use. There are lot more. I could go into technical, analytical, techniques I use for humor. There's another one for using triads. So you give three things that the audience would expect, and the third one you change it up, and that definitely creates humor. So it's about, I would say, to summarize, it's about enjoying humor a lot. Like myself, I enjoy a lot of sitcoms, TV shows, humorous TV shows like Friends, The Office, Parks and Rec, the whole lot. And then also movies. And then also analyzing the technique behind the joke when you see it. And thirdly, of course, applying those techniques whenever there's a possibility in your speech. But all of these boils down to the point of writing your speech. For humor, it's really important to write your speech. But I know speakers who can come up with jokes on the spot on stage. Dennis would be a good example for that, but I can't do it. My secret behind my humor and my skill of bringing humor is writing. Keep writing and writing again and again the joke and refining it and thinking, okay, where should I put this punch word? Should it come here or here? Is it should before this line, after this line? Thinking again and again. There's a lot of work going into it. Scripting is key to, I would say, winning any contest, and especially for humorous contests.
Wow, that was fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause. I think that was a mini masterclass in how to be very successful, not just in terms of adding humor, but in terms of preparing, that dedication, the work. I always, me as well, when I'm writing a speech or preparing for, any type of presentation, I always like to write the entire thing through and then I practice it and I remove the words. That way, you have you have to have the framework. And I like the way you describe the way you constructed and deconstructed the jokes for us to understand, there are multiple techniques. I remember when I used to be part of the my French club, chez nous, I did one speech. I did back then we had the humorous speech manual and with I think five projects in that manual. And I did my first three speeches, I got zero laughs. People, some of the jokes went over people's heads. At one time, I created a speech expecting a certain type of audience, and the audience didn't show up. I had a completely different audience, so the jokes went straight over everyone's head. And then I went to speech number four, and everyone was laughing. People were rolling over. They couldn't laugh. I had to slow down my speech. I had to put pauses in. And the reason why I was so successful is because I had a lot of exaggeration. I was talking about things that people couldn't relate to. Like I was talking about my mother-in-law and how I was trying to teach her French and she didn't understand and she was giving me lip and she was giving the antics and all this kind of stuff. And people were just laughing and rolling around. So and I added a little bit of physical comedy as well to it. But a lot of it was exaggeration. I even talk about how I went to the ATM and I tried to, change the language to French, and then I got stuck, and then it took away my card. That didn't exactly happen, but I exaggerated, right? People were just laughing at me all the time. So yeah, those are a number of things that I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to talk about. If you're in the audience and there's a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, feel free to add it to the chat. This is a fairly open discussion, and we still have a little bit of time, but there's a couple more topics I'd like to breach before we wrap up our session. So I'd like to turn back to Madhukar and ask him a question. Yeah, so in terms of this whole concept, you're the program quality director, you have a number of responsibilities. What are some ideas that you might have for clubs in terms of, sort of adding this sort of dynamism to their clubs? I know there's this Pathways program, and we have the Pathways ambassador that's going around and things like that. Is there any specific nuggets that you can give to clubs in terms of how they can sort of, maybe joint meetings, whatever that you would like to share?
Sure, that's a good question you have asked. But before I say anything, I would like to add in Eva's answer, which Dennis has asked, that there's a speaker bureau also in the District 123. If any club is struggling or any speaker wants to practice out of their club, and that they should do if they want to be a world champion, because you cannot be world champion if you are just speaking and speaking and speaking and giving speeches within your club or within your district. Anybody who succeeded, they have gone to, I don't know, 100 clubs out of their club, out of their district, 100 times. So that's the key. So Dennis, you can use Speaker Bureau when you go to website 123. That is available. And Dhiren, he himself offered me, but anybody who wants to be speaker, you can use, because they have two sections, whether you want to be speaker or you are looking for a speaker. So both you can fill whatever fits to you. In terms of growing and the question which Leslie asked, to make fun, I know what Smedley said, Dr. Smedley, with due respect. I know what Toastmasters talk about, leadership and education, but time is changing and nobody can stop that. No one has that power. You have to be very realistic. You have to live in present. For corporate club, which is very easy to charter, most of the club, because this is going on record, I'm not saying that all the clubs, corporate club, most of the corporate club are saying, I have nothing to do with the leadership. I have nothing to do with the world champion of public speaking. And this is the reality. You have to accept that. So what I'm suggesting, because I have some complaint or some concern that they're saying my area director or division director is forcing me, no, you have to do training, you have to do like club success plan. So what I'm suggesting them, to make a little bit, you have to be a little bit flexible. If they don't want anybody, a world champion or anybody, why don't you approach HR manager? Why didn't you approach finance? Why didn't you approach planning or COO, anybody? Not on a regular basis, but to bring those corporate Toastmasters into pipeline of Toastmasters, the object, leadership and all. So once
100%.
maybe in 2 months' time, they will understand that this is very important leadership. It is nothing to do with the Toastmasters, but you're going to give slideshow, presentations. So that is one thing for the corporate one. And the community clubs has different issues. I'm suggesting that you try to mingle with the society rather than just talking about leadership and public speaking. Now, the festival, Indian festival, and not only Indian festival, but Christmas is coming, New Year coming, that October, November, December. Why you're just talking about leadership? Why can't you talk about celebrating Christmas? Why can't you talk about celebrating Festival of Light, which is Diwali, or Dashera, or anything, something like New Year? Have some, instead of having a community center, if some member is kind enough and they have, like, I'm not saying like a detached house, but even like where you can accommodate 10 people or 15 people, try to have your celebrations or meeting in your members' house if they agree, rather than going for a community. because you don't get that kind of feeling when you're going to the commercial places. But if you go to any member's house, looks like Danny's house is very big. I don't know that is how, but we would like to come over there to celebrate Christmas and to have a meeting over there. Similarly, if somebody can just, like, I know, like, it's big, sometimes it's a big challenge because maybe you want but your partner doesn't want. Oh, it's a headache, everybody will come and go, and then utensils and food is left and washroom is dirty and all. But those are small things. How much time? 1 hour will take to clean. So I will suggest that throw such kind of parties in one of the club member, if possible. Don't force, if possible.
Yes.
So that, so it will, connectivity will be faster, because in coming days, the Gen Z, Gen Z, those young one is Gen Z or Millennium? The young one is Gen Z, right?
Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah. They don't have time. They don't even search. They just browse. In 2 seconds, they switch to another one, another one, another one, another one.
Yes.
If your club is not connected as a family, they are not going to join your club. You will find people who are different. But this Toastmaster is about, as Leslie said, like if you're looking for a job or you want to prepare and all, if you want to involve them, your club has to be well organized, that you have buffet. Like if you want, like, public speaking, you have public speaking. You want like leadership, you have leadership. You want to prepare for an interview, you have that. You want to bilingual one, like Spanish or French or Hindi, you have. So those kind of things are very, very important. Thank you,
Very
Leslie.
good.
We have
Very
a
good.
question. We have a question from Sumit
Yes.
Datta.
Yeah, why don't we ask him to come on camera? Why don't you
He's there.
give him a spotlight,
Sumit,
please?
go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So just to recap on what the question that I said was, I'm a member of Elite Toastmasters. It's a very small club. Sometimes we have maybe like 6 to 8 members who show up at every meeting. So we seriously need to grow our club in terms of members. Like growth is a pressing issue. And I've tried to get 1 or 2 of my friends to join, and they join, but they're very irregular in joining, and they're not going to become a full-time member. So we tried, like I'm familiar with social media advertising like Facebook, but physically, I'm wondering in your experience, as all of you folks experience as clubs in advertising, what are the physical avenues where you can advertise? Like I've put flyers in the YMCA, I've put flyers in my community hall, but I'm getting limited response. So physically, other than internet-based, what's the physical ways you can reach out to people?
And your club, is it an online club?
Yeah, we meet online. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a wonderful question, and I'd like to, open it for anyone who would like to respond, particularly, some of the people that are in the larger clubs that may or may not be online. One of the things that I find is that online clubs have a lot of advantages. Also, there's a lot of disadvantages too. The disadvantage of being online is that you're competing with, I don't know, 10,000 clubs around the world, right? But the advantage is that you can actually, if you create the right environment, you can get members from literally anywhere, right? And so there's one very successful club that I created a number of years ago, Bilingual Toastmasters du Grand Toronto. Half of the members, they're all the way in West Africa. Members are in France, the US, etc. And the thing that drives the members is many of them, they want to improve their English language. Many of them, they want to learn French, so there's something in it for each one of the members. So what you have to do is find out what is special about your club and market your club in that way, right? Go after members who you think would benefit from your club. And there's a number of avenues right now that are available in terms of social media. One of the good avenues Madhukar mentioned, apart from just online, was advertising your club in the community. We did something a little different last year in a club that we just started, Namaste Brampton. We actually went to a farmer's market for 3 or 4 times, and we set up a stall. It's 100% free. The city was very happy to have us. They gave us a spot. We had a few members volunteer their time. It was really good interacting with members of the community as they were coming by, buying their fruits, etc. And we were talking about Toastmasters. We were marketing Toastmasters and specifically our club, because the club is a one of a kind. It meets on Saturday mornings. Not like I'm trying to market it now, but I'm just saying that in the same way you can do that in the community, that you live. Just like the flyers, I find that the flyers nowadays, they don't get as much attention as before, because there's after COVID, there's so many different things that people are involved in, like and people's attention spans, like Madhukar said, is just reduced significantly. It's not just the millennials. People, they're doing all kinds of activities. There's golf, there's this. You have to cancel one thing to go to a different activity. So I would say look for those opportunities. And I think it was Madhukar that talked also about in your club, you have to create that environment. One of the clubs I can tell you about, I mean, I think it's very much like Pickering, H. Pickering Toastmasters. When I went to that club, it was just off the chains. I just visited, I got an invitation. They had a whole dinner, they had it well organized, and it's all about the you catering to the members. Whoever walks in, jumps into your online meeting, make sure you introduce them, keep your quality to the highest level, and cater to the members. But I was going to mention one club that Eva also knows very well, Brampton Toastmasters. The first time I went to that club, I was, wow, this is just amazing. Why? Because as soon as you walk in, there was the vice president of membership. He was sitting at the door. He was greeting you. He was giving you a name tag, and you felt like a dignitary. You feel very special. And the entire meeting was choreographed. They actually had a VP of education and an assistant VP of education. So they always have the agenda prepared. It's always prepared way ahead of time. They had a assistant, an education committee for the club, right? I know in a small club, it's hard to have all of these things, but the reason why they have it is so that you have the policies and procedures in place, so that you always have a high standard, high quality meeting. Because whenever someone comes to the meeting, your goal is to convert them to convert them to a member. So if for instance, you're missing an agenda, people don't know what they're doing, they're not prepared, the speaker is not there, and Madhukar gave a good example, the Speakers Bureau, right? The Speakers Bureau is a really good example of a way you can help to lift the quality of your meeting. Yeah, you might not have a speaker, but you can grab someone from the Speakers Bureau, like, Darren. Maybe he's looking to prepare for his next contest. And, that's one way to add. So I'd like to hear from maybe Eva on some tips that a smaller club can use.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, sure. Okay, this is twofold. Twofold. One is to build your clubs and where do you find your members, and the other thing is you have to have a welcoming club. I find the welcoming clubs, the ones that Google over your guests, are the ones that are inviting, the ones that really want the guest to become a member. The well-run meetings are the ones that attract the members. If you have a low membership, and how many do you have, Sumit? 6 members in your club?
6 members show up every meeting, but we have officially 10 members,
Okay.
10 or 12.
So that's great. I'm just gonna mention about club coaches, because you can get up to 2 club coaches, and the benefit of that is you get 2 extra bodies that will help you with your agenda and will help you run your meetings. So that's one of the things. They're the support, they're their advisory committee, and they will help you with your club. That's one thing. The other thing is where you can look for members is Toastmasters International gets a lot of hits and they send them through. I've had about 20 hits from Toastmasters International for the club. Make sure you follow up. Send them the invite, talk to them, speak to them. An online club, as Leslie said, an online club is almost limitless. You can have members from anywhere in the world. One of the clubs that I was with, they had members from US and some from actually one of the members was from Japan. So it's a big outreach. But the thing is, if you're a well-run club and you're a friendly club, you're a welcoming club, you will attract members. There's no qualms about that. So you will attract members. Just keep your club organized, well-run, inviting, and fun. You got to have fun, because if you don't have fun, nobody wants to come and join you. You got to have fun. Make sure you've got good speeches. And if you don't have the speakers, make sure you run a fantastic table topics. Everybody can participate. Everybody can have fun. Make sure the table topics are fun. Because if you don't have that, if people are sitting not participating, they'll say, well, why am I here? Make it enjoyable, make it fun, have great table topics, well-run meeting, and don't forget Toastmasters International. And if you have social media, you will have people coming and email you information. Make sure you follow up, because if you follow that up, and don't just do it once, follow up. If they want to attend, keep them on your distribution list, and then keep on inviting them, and eventually they'll show up.
Very good, very good. I know we are.
Okay, Leslie, we have another 4 minutes left.
Yes,
So
yes.
any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to. Do we have any other questions in the chat? I don't see any other questions, but there's one item I had on my list that I wanted to talk to. I see there's someone here from Regional Peel Toastmasters Club. I don't know if she's willing to answer a question. Nicole, are you able to?
I can.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm picking on you is because Regional Peel Toastmasters Club, believe it or not, is one of the very successful Toastmasters Club in our district. Let me see if I can give you spotlight. Yes. And I know in our district and many districts around the world, corporate clubs have, had a struggle. They've not always, been able to meet the needs of the members. And one of the things I've seen in Regional Peel, Toastmasters Club was, Club of the Year a couple of years ago. So maybe you can give us a few tips in terms of if someone's part of a corporate club, what are, some of the things that they can do in terms of making, the meeting fun?
I think some of the Toastmasters here mentioned it, and even though it's a corporate club, the difference with the corporate club are we don't have the gift of time that some of our other clubs do, community clubs. So we have 1 hour. So within that hour, we have to squeeze in as much fun and enjoyment and interest and try to capture within the lunch hour, because our meetings are at lunch hour. So that has been the challenge, but I think a lot of your panelists hit the nail on the head with the things that they said. It's just that we have that time crunch. So we really do try to include our table topics, and we do have some of our Toastmasters have made them very interesting and very unique. It's just within a condensed period of time. And as well as our speeches, we try to ensure that we have all of our roles filled, and we have our speakers filled. We used to have 2 speakers plus table topics, but that often took us over our 1 hour time. So we've now dwindled that to 1 speaker and a longer table topic session, which allows more people to be able to get involved. So more of our Toastmasters have the ability to speak. So those are some of the things that we are able to do within a condensed period of time.
Very good. And I think one of the secrets that Regional Peel has been very successful is because they have that relationship with HR, and HR sees the club as part of the goals of the member. You know, we are in Toastmasters for a reason because we want to develop our skills. So I think that's one of the things that I've seen in Regional Peel that has been helped it to be very successful.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And our chair has mentioned Toastmasters. Our chair of the region of Peel has mentioned it many times. So that has been we have a lot of support there as well from senior leadership.
Very good. Very good. Are there any other questions in the chat? Maya, do you see any other questions that we could take before we wrap things up?
No, we don't have any questions. We can
Okay,
wrap up
so
then.
I think we've almost exhausted all of our time today. This has been an amazing experience for me. I think one of the highlights of this was obviously having the the two top guns from our district in the form of Mr. Madukar and Eva, 3 times DTM, and spending, part of our evening with us. And of course, none other than our, reigning district international speech champion. I think it's very important, to highlight these people in our district that are, they're stars. And just listening to him talk about how he constructed the speech and deconstructed it. I think we need to create a workshop for our members to, really understand that, you don't just go out there and expect your speech to be, funny and people to laugh at it. Just like the story I told about, just going through that humorous speech part in the old Toastmasters manual. It took me up until the fourth speech to really succeed and really understand the ingredients of building, humor into your speech. So I look forward to, I challenge you, Darren, to, it's like when you're giving an evaluation, I challenge you to do a workshop on how to add that ingredient of humor into presentations as well as any other ones. And so I'd like to go around the room to our three panelists now, beginning with Madhukar. If you have any final words to wrap us up.
Yeah, sure. This year, what I'm focusing P2P. What is P2P? Is peer to peer. I have seen this year we have last year 8, but this year we have 6 division directors. And I'm telling them, don't focus on challenges, don't focus on problems. Focus what strength you have. Imagine if 6 strengths come together, what you can do. You can do anything. So I'm telling them, just ask the questions among yourself, and I'm pretty much sure that you will find the answer rather than shooting email to trio. And all trio just get up at 1 a.m. in the morning and start writing email. Those who are getting email, 1 a.m. we are replying. So that is a thing. And other thing, try area directors also same thing, peer to peer. You have tools. You don't have to go out of your area. For area means at least you have 20 clubs. 20 clubs means at least 100 members you have. And they have a lot of potential. Don't underestimate that, oh, he cannot be chief judge or he cannot be contest chair. They have a lot of potential. Similarly, clubs. Try to, as Danny said, and Eva also said, and Leslie also said, at least advise. Your neighbor club doesn't know when there's a contest. You just in your own, you're in your own world. Then how you can expect that your membership will grow? And the last thing, which if Sumit is here, I don't know, Sumit is here? Yeah, Sumit is here.
Yes.
Last night, everybody got some emergency or urgent email. And Leslie called me, Madhukar, what is this? And I learned very important thing. It is not about sending some information. It is something about what you want to send and what value people will get. I sent through the PRM 2 flyers. One was created by Leslie with the value, why you should come here. The other flyer was created by me, just information that on Monday there is contest chair workshop, and he is absolutely right that if I don't showing any value in the flyer, no matter I'm putting in YMCA or I'm putting in Toronto Star or anywhere, people will not come. You have to show that there is a value for you. So you have to write at least 3-4 lines. I'm not saying you write the full book in the flyer, but at least 3-4 lines. So thank you, Leslie, for that. And next time I will keep it, 3-4 lines why people should come to the workshop. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, 100%. And let's just segue quickly to our club growth director, Eva. Just give
Thank you,
us a
Leslie.
wrap up.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to say very short. I see many of you are here, and the reason you're here because you want to be here in Toastmasters. And I know the word, and I know you want to spread the word. I know you want to have your clubs healthy. So that is the whole purpose of club growth. Increase the membership, keep your clubs healthy, and grow more clubs. I know there's a desire for that because that's why we're all here. And if you need help, Club Growth is there. I've got a team and we can work together to help you. Summit, if you want some more information, we can connect. Just email Club Growth Director from the Toastmasters district website, and we can get together. I'm always available, so if anybody needs help, I'm there to help you, and we've got a team to help you out as well. So keep on growing.
And she's got a budget too, as well. Club growth director's got the money, so ask her, and she might be able to help you out. All right, our last and most special guest tonight, who I completely enjoyed your presentation. Tell us a little bit about, what you would like us to take away from this evening, Darren.
Sure, let's see. I think I'll start with the one of the ongoing themes of this conversation was how do we attract members, how do we keep members. One thing I wanted to add to many of the answers given by Madhukar and Evie as well, which is uh, when you know there are members like Sumit mentioned, like there are 6 to 8 members. One thing you got to understand is where did they come from? Understanding the channels where they reached out to your club and investing on those channels. I tell this from my experience of being president of one of the corporate clubs around 5-6 years ago. One of the things we did was to get the onboarding meeting of the company, use that meeting to as a promoting moment for our Toastmasters club as well. So that's just one example. It could be various other things, just like Leslie also mentioned. Understanding your audience in terms of members is very important, where they come from. So just to add on to contesting exposure of my experience, I would say if you are a new member, if you're just a member who is still considering contesting, if you have not done contesting, I would say if a team Toastmasters membership is driving in the 401, if that's the speed of progress you would get. But contesting is like driving the 407 in the context of Toronto driving experience. It'll be expensive, but it'll be worth it. I'm saying expensive in terms of time, and also in terms of effort and the nerves you have to spend in contesting, but it will be definitely worth it. And I would recommend that for member attraction as well, and member retention as well, because the Toastmasters contest is the acid test of the quality of the club. When you have members who contest and become better, you generate better members, and when they get hooked to the contesting adrenaline rush, they will definitely continue their membership. And it's not just you don't have to contest just to become a professional speaker. It could be just for improving your communication skills in your current career, whatever it is. Because three things I've gained from contesting throughout these years is better skills, better speaking skills, of course, and better confidence, going up there and winning, even sometimes even losing, to gain the confidence to lose the contest as well. And also something that I have underestimated is better network. I got to meet these wonderful people like Leslie, Madhukar, and Eva through the contesting. Just because I got into the contesting last year and last 2 years in here, that's how I got to know them. So that's another value. So my key takeaway for the whole audience is to almost all the questions is one of the key is contesting and giving your best to the contest, be it humorous, be it international speech contest, whatever it is, putting your best effort into contesting yourself and having a great contest within your club. Back to you, Leslie.
Wow, 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 wow. So this is the second edition of this Boost workshop. I'm really overjoyed by not just the panel, the questions we had. They were very thought-provoking. I really wholly enjoyed this experience, spending our Thursday afternoon together. And I hope that we have an opportunity to do this again, maybe in a slightly different format. But thank you once again, especially to my panelists. Thank you to my audience today. Thank you to Maya for keeping us on time with your lights, especially at the end. This has been awesome. Thank you very much. And I wish you a good night and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, to wrap up, thank you everyone. I don't have any goodies to, or I don't have any door prizes to give away. For I am so sorry, but sometime we will. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a good night.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Night.